it's hard for me to see everybody on screen, or some people are on video. So when I call your name, if you are here, please say here or present. And don't forget, you may have to unmute yourself
by pressing *6. If you're on the phone, sorry to interrupt, Colin. If you're on the phone, *6 to unmute yourself. And if you're on video, you press the little thing, and then please mute yourself again after you've unmuted yourself, because if not, we hear a lot of background noise and we won't be able to finish this on time. Thanks. Colin.
Okay, we're going to start with District A and Nicole Ayers.
Here.
Thank you. Chuck Nystrom.
Here.
Thank you. Chris Bylone.
Here.
Thank you. David Hevelman.
Present.
Thank you. Leisha King.
Here.
Thank you. Eloise Melendez.
Here.
Thank you. Rosa Murray. Once again, Rosa Murray.
Rosa, if you're on the phone, *6 to unmute yourself.
Present.
Great.
Present.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Kadeem Roberts.
Present.
Thank you. Jalen Seed.
I approved him in. He should be.
Jalen Seed.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Babar Sheikh. Babar Sheikh.
Yeah.
Darius Williams.
Present.
Thank you. Moving on to District B and Ron Banks.
Here.
Thank you.
Great.
Sherelle Harris. Sherelle? Okay, moving on to JJ Byron.
I approved her in. She should be. I hope she's here.
Present. Present.
Thank you, got it.
Okay,
Sonia
thank you.
Oliver.
Here.
Thank you. Diana Revelos.
Here.
Thank you. Migdalia Rivas.
Here.
Thank you. Travis Sims. Travis Sims, you here?
Present.
Got it. Thank you. Sharon Stewart. Sharon Stewart. Sandra Stokes.
I'm here.
Thank you. Martha Wooten-Dumas.
Here.
Thank you. Quick question. Did District B replace Ernie Dumas on the DTC?
No, we'll be doing that on the first.
Okay, got it. Moving on to District C, starting with Jennifer Balliet. Jennifer. Naomi Kites.
I'm here.
Thank you. John Kites.
Here.
Thank you. Linda Langston.
Here.
Thank you. Jennifer McAllister.
Here.
Thank you. Pam Parkington. Pam, are you here? Sorry about that, everybody.
Somebody's there.
Brenda Penn Williams.
Here.
Thank you.
Colin.
Yeah.
Donnie Mae is trying to get in, so I'm helping her out.
Okay.
So
Thank you for letting me
she'll
know.
be coming in.
Yes, I've also tried to let her in too.
Excellent. Thank you. Beth Siegelbaum.
Here.
Thank you. George Theodorides. Georgie here. Stephanie Thomas.
Here.
Thank you. And Johnny Mae, is she on yet? Okay, in progress.
Not yet. I'm still helping her. She's coming.
Got it. District D, Greg Burnett. Greg, are you here? Lauren
Oh,
Gray.
wait. I'm sorry. I'm letting Greg in right now and
Okay.
Jennifer
Here.
Pellier. Yeah.
Thanks, Lauren.
Hey, it's Lauren. I'm here.
Thank you. Dominique Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Diana Keefe.
Here.
Thank you. Pat Marshak.
Here.
Thank you. Barbara Meyer Mitchell.
Berlin is proxy here.
Thanks. James Page.
Proxy, Shirley Mosby.
Thank you, Shirley. Nick Sachinelli. Nick, are you here? Barbara Smith.
Here.
Thank you. Joe Tamburi.
Here.
Thank you. George Sirenides. George? Okay. Finally, District E, starting with Ed
I'm
Camacho.
sorry, Colin, before you move on, Greg Burnett from District D is on the call.
Perfect. Thanks, Greg. And it's going to District E, Ed Camacho.
Here.
Thank you. Deb D'Arenzo.
Here.
Thank you. Tina Duryea.
Here.
Thank you. Mary Finnegan.
Here.
Thank you. Mary Ellen Flaherty.
Here.
Thank you. Colin Hassan is here. Esther Murillo.
Here.
Thank you. Lucia Rilling.
Present.
Thank you. Kevin Tepes.
I'm here.
Thank you. Pat Tinto.
Present.
Thank you. And Galen Wells.
Here.
Okay. I believe we have a quorum and can proceed.
Great.
Did anybody come in late and not register their presence?
Did you get Jen?
I did not get Jen. Jennifer Valiette is here.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
She put it on chat.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she put it in the chat.
Good.
Okay, right now I'm going to I'm just gonna go ahead and press mute all.
Eloisa,
Yeah,
Johnny is waiting to come in.
I'm pretty sure I clicked her. I don't see her waiting there anymore. I don't see her waiting here at all. And I've approved her.
She's in, she said. She's in.
Oh, she must be on a phone. I don't see her name. Okay, great. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone with my feature here. So if you're on the phone, you're muted from my end. But if you'd like to unmute yourself, and this is only if you're on the phone, unmute yourself to speak, you'll have to press *6, and we'll give you that moment to do that. But for right now, I'm just gonna mute everyone just so that we don't have any of this background noise. And if you're on the computer or your iPad, you'll be able to unmute yourself by clicking your screen and unmuting yourself there. Okay, so I hope everyone got that. So now everyone's muted. Moving forward with the meeting, I just want to say, I just want to thank you all for being here, I'm really glad that we were able to have a quorum. I do realize that 5 o'clock meetings are really difficult for some people. It's like dinner time and some people are still working until then. This is not the new norm by any, means, or we're not meeting on Tuesdays and stuff anymore. But this particular meeting has to happen within a very sensitive, small time frame set by the Secretary of State, which was May 19th through 26th, to be able to get these endorsements in for registered voters, justice of the peaces, and districts that are wholly, like completely in a town or in a municipality, not like the multi-town conventions that we had last week. So I didn't want to schedule it last week because we had so many conventions, and then we go later into the week, it gets crazy. Yesterday was Memorial Day, and today is the deadline to have it, and there are meetings at 6 and at 7 and at 7:30, and I want to be able to accommodate as many people as possible. So again, I'm sorry if this was really difficult to do. I hope everyone is well and safe and their families are healthy, and all you business owners in here, I hope you guys are doing okay as we go through phase 1 of reopening our state. And for those of you who were recently endorsed last week, congratulations. I'm just really excited that after tonight we'll have our full slate, and that go on from there. Okay, so right before I start the agenda, I'm just going to remind everyone that this video, I'm not sure if any members of the press are on it at the moment because I can't tell names by if you're calling in by phone, but this meeting is being recorded and can possibly, be given to the press. So just be mindful of that as we speak. Okay, so open the call, roll call. We'll start with the nomination for Registrar of Voters. Do I hear a nomination? And reminder, if you'd like to speak and you're on the phone, I have you muted, so to unmute yourself, you have to press *6. On video, please press the unmute button. So are there any nominations for Registrar of Voters?
Madam Chairperson, I would like to offer a name for the Registrar of Voters. And that name I would like to put into our consideration is that of Stuart Wells. Stuart Wells is a forward thinker. He plans and acts decisively. Rather than reacting to each new situation or eventuality. For him, being in public service and being in public office is not a 9-to-5, but an experience that he enjoys availing himself to on a daily basis. His own inner commitment to the ideals of public service, compels him to show up when he does not have to and to stay long after everyone else has gone home. His appetite for inclusion is a bond that he shares with Norwalkers from all walks of life. In his role as registrar, he is not always able to be in agreement with everyone who comes to the office, but in that role, as our party's representative, his office door is always open to every citizen, regardless of your views or your opinions, and regardless of how you may differ and the things that you have to present before him in his official role. Stuart Wells serves all citizens of Norwalk well. And so I ask you to consider Stuart Wells as our party representative for Registrar of Voters for all the citizens of Norwalk. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any seconds?
I'm happy to second that nomination. I'm not sure if anyone was planned to give a second, but I think Stuart Wells is, as far as I could tell, the best registrar of voters in the entire state of Connecticut. He knows his stuff, and he's basically a resource for many registrars throughout the state. So I'm happy to second his nomination.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, we have no other nominations. So with that, I'll ask our Secretary Colin to have one ballot to nominate Stuart Wells to be our Democratic candidate for Registrar of Voters. Yay! Congrats, and thank you so much for your work, Stuart. Yes. Okay, moving on. We're going to begin nominating candidates for our 2 seats that are not multi-town districts for state hats. Do I have any nominations for the 137th?
Madam Chair, this is Greg Burnett speaking.
Okay.
I'd like to place into nomination the name of Chris Peron for the state representative for the 137th district. Can I speak on
Yes,
that?
you can. Yes.
Chris, as we all know, is a seasoned, skilled incumbent in this current role. He went into office in 2004 and has been deeply involved in some very key and strategic initiatives at the state level that have impacted us here greatly in the Norwalk area and all throughout Connecticut. He has focused on our infrastructure and transportation initiatives. He has also been actively involved in supporting several of our current COVID operations, such as fielding several calls related to the unemployment situation, working with manufacturers to bring PPEs across the state and also into the Norwalk area. He's been involved in working with small businesses to increase their capacity and keep their doors open as much as possible going forward.
What is Greg talking about?
Excuse me? Who was that?
I don't know.
He is, Chris has also been involved in terms of just being focused on here in Norwalk, specifically working with supporting a very key and important initiative, which is our PTEC initiative, Pathways to Early College High School Academy at Norwalk High School. But most importantly, with his skills and background, Chris will be very instrumental in terms of bringing the focus to bring Connecticut back to a stable and secure economic standard and status. And with that, his skills and background will be greatly needed going forward. So with that, I'd like to again nominate Chris Peron for state representative in the 137th district.
Thank you so much, Mr. Burnett. Do I have a second for that?
Yes.
I would like
Barbara Meyer Mitchell unfortunately had another meeting, but on her behalf, I'm going to read a short statement seconding Chris Peron's nomination. It is an honor to second the nomination of Chris Peron to continue to represent the 137th in the General Assembly. Chris has been a supporter of education in Norwalk. He had a big hand in bringing PTEC to Norwalk. He supported the change in ECS formula in 2017 that is bringing $10 million of additional education funding over this decade, and hopefully he will help the effort to fund our new Norwalk High School. Chris will use his good relationships in Hartford to help Norwalk navigate the public safety and economic challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. His commitment to addressing our transportation infrastructure challenges has been so important to moving the state forward. Chris, thank you for your service and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Yes, I would like to also second the nomination for Chris Peron. I think everything's pretty much been said. I would also like to thank him for the great communication that he's had with his constituents. And he's done a great job working hard for us these last 15 years. And I would like to see him continue his work in Hartford, standing up for our democratic values.
Great, thank you so much. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, this one's a little interesting, Colin, because only a few DTC members can vote for this. The DTC members, for the record, are Nicole Ayers, Chuck Nystrom, David Hubelman, Leisha King, Eloise Melendez, Rosa Murray, Kadeem Roberts, Jalen Seed, Linda Langston, Pam Parkington, Beth Siegelbaum, Johnny May Weldon, Greg Burnett, Barbara Meyer Mitchell, and Dominique Johnson. So for the record, those are the only ones that are allowed to vote for this, because those are the only DTC members that live in the 137th. And as an aside, we would be having a caucus if it wasn't for COVID, but we can't even have a caucus on Zoom.
Do they need to have a roll call vote then?
I don't think if there are no objections from those people, I think that's fine. If there's no objections or anything.
I think Eloisa, because there are no other nominations, the secretary just should cast just one vote, and that's the end of it.
Okay, cool. But one vote from those people, not from the full DTC. Right. I just wanted to make that distinction. Okay. All right. Congratulations, Representative Peron. Yay. Okay. Chris, would you like to make a speech or
Sure. Well,
nomination?
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much for your support, first of all. And second of all, thanks for everybody has things that they're working on today, and life is giving us all kinds of challenges these days. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out and participating in this new format of democracy. And it's great that we can all get together. I think the COVID epidemic has really changed the landscape in Connecticut in terms of really what our focuses need to be, not only in economic development, but really how the social safety net is deployed, how we are funding, and where we are prioritizing our dollars. I think that the epidemic has revealed really serious inadequacies of how we are able to supply our hospitals with PPE. One of the things I've been working on is working with manufacturers, people that have been volunteering, offering frankly, their supply lines. A lot of manufacturers have deep ties in Asia, and so working with hospitals to make those connections, those introductions, to make sure that hospitals can source directly their own PPE, so they can build up their stockpiles and have reserves, when need be. Somebody had mentioned the Department of Labor. I'd made a comment that my house in some ways seems to be a satellite office of the DOL. A lot of folks are calling me directly, or reaching out to me through Facebook, and so just my office is working on 20 or 30 cases for unemployment benefits for people. So I think that obviously going forward, we want to make sure that our Department of Labor is fully up to scratch in terms of their operating platforms, their system platforms. It's again, it's one of these areas that was revealed to be coming up short in its capacity to help people in this kind of crisis. Lastly, I will say that I think that looking at things that I think are working, to be positive, frankly, is looking at P-TECH. I think that P-TECH does put significant opportunities for advancement into the hands of students that want to study and study computer science, but also want to prepare for college, want to be on that trajectory. And so certainly supporting that, expanding it through our efforts at Norwalk High is critical. I have a son goes to P-TECH. I think I've spoken to a lot of other kids that go to P-TECH, and it's a win for Norwalk, and we're moving in that direction. So I just want to say thank you for thank you for your support, but also I think you should know that we have such a passionate and focused delegation between Senator Duff and Representative Sims and Representative Dathan, that we have your backs, and we're really looking forward to working with you going forward. And please let us know if we need you need anything we can help you with during this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations, and thank you for all your work.
Appreciate it.
Stuart, are you still on? Because I just realized I forgot to give you the opportunity to thank the DTC.
Take a while.
I'm so sorry. Stuart? Or Galen, do you know Stuart?
No, I'm on.
Okay. I don't know if you just want to say thank you, or...
If you can hear me. Yes.
Yes.
Just thank you.
Sorry about that.
I sent out that rather lengthy explanation of all the changes this year. And of course, there's been another one. Now everyone's going to get an absentee ballot application and can use it. So we keep changing the rules as we go, and it's making life lots of fun. And I don't know how many more shoes the governor and the Secretary of State have to drop in terms of changes, but I suspect their closet is not empty yet. So I will be keeping you all informed, and thank you for your confidence in me.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Thank you so much. Don't know where we would be without you. Okay, moving forward. Sorry about that. Are there any nominations for state representative, for a Democratic candidate for state representative for the 140th district?
I'd
If
like to
you are,
nominate.
sorry, if you're on the phone and would like to say something, please remember you have to unmute yourself by pressing *6. Okay. Any nominations?
This is Sonia Oliver. I'd like to nominate Travis Sims for state representative for the 140th district. Travis has done an excellent job of representing us. He keeps the constituents up to date. I personally gave someone his name to reach out to regarding an issue with their unemployment. Got a response back that he got back to them the very next day and that they were working on getting him his money. Checked back with them and the young man got his money. So he's out there, he's working hard for his constituents, he's doing what he has to do for us and keeps us up to date and informed. Thank you, Travis, for doing an excellent job. And that's my nomination.
Thank you. Are there any seconds?
Madam Chair, I would like to second the nomination of State Representative Travis Sims. In sharing this thought, loyalty to democracy is a hard-won position to aspire to. For those who desire it, it often can lead to you being open to political vulnerabilities. Nevertheless, when a candidate represents a community that may be less seen and often less heard, then you must also be fitted for the challenges that will exist from coming or needing to represent a marginalized or often overlooked community. This is where we as Democrats and in choosing our candidates rise in our leadership, for we are the party that will travel the often least traveled road, and we stay connected to those who often feel least connected. And so I too want to lend myself to asking the members of the 140th district to support our state representative, Travis Sims, and allow him to return to the state legislature's office. And because he's a heavy lifter for those of the 140th district.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banks. Are there any other seconds or comments?
Yes, I would like to second his nomination. I think that Travis has definitely, just to put a button on Mr. Banks's point, he has definitely tried to be a voice for the voiceless and hear people out regardless of whatever their affiliation is. And I think that tapping off of what Mr. Peron said, we do have a hyper-focused delegation that is committed to making sure that Norwalk gets its equitable share from Hartford, and I am very confident that that our delegation will continue to move the baton forward. So that's all.
Thank you so much. Any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. I'm going to ask our secretary, Colin Austin, to put one ballot, but from these specific DTC members that live in the 140th. That list is, hold on. That list is Christopher Bylam, Darius Williams, Ron Banks, Sherelle Harris, JJ Byron, Sonia Oliver, Diana Reveles, Medalia Rivas, Travis Sims, Sharon Stewart, Sandra Stokes, Martha Wooden Dumas, Ed Camacho, and Colin Austin. Okay. And with that, congratulations, Travis. I don't know if I see you or if you're joining by phone. Are you joining by phone?
I am.
Okay. Would you like to accept your nomination?
Absolutely. I'm truly humbled, and I just can't thank the citizens of the 140th district in the great city of Norwalk enough for this second opportunity to serve them in the legislature. First, I want to thank Ron and Darius for their heartfelt thoughts about me. I truly appreciate their comments. As it's always great to hear the positive feedback that you are doing in the community. And again, I don't want to miss Sonia as well. Sonia Oliver, she has been a staple in our community, and she has been doing great work as a new leader in District B. But back to my comments here. You know, I want to, again, I am truly humble about this experience. And again, it's just great to hear the feedback from my peers and colleagues here locally, knowing that I'm putting forth the work ethics and the character that I'm displaying in Hartford and on the local level to make sure that we have great representation in Hartford. I also I want to thank the state party for their for putting together this virtual process in such a short time. Yes, we are in the midst of this COVID epidemic, and for the party to come together and put this platform together, it made it so much easier on all the delegates and candidates around the state to get the work done for Democrats here. I want to thank Eloisa for her leadership and during this process as well. I believe she was juggling between as our state representative here locally. I'm not a state representative, but our state central representative, and serving as our new chair. She's been doing a remarkable job. So I want to thank her as well for the great work that she's been doing.
Thank you.
And lastly, I just look forward to working with everyone and engaging all the members of Norwalk. Not just folks that live in the 140, but I think if we're to be successful in this upcoming election and forward, I think that we all have to be on the same page and be working together. Yes, we're going to agree to disagree on certain issues, but I think that we working together and having a common ground and understanding with one another. I think that that's going to serve us great in going forward. So again, I accept the nomination and thanks everyone for the work that they're doing for the party.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sims, Representative Sims. Okay, everyone. Moving on, I'm just going to read off the list of names from the different districts for justice of the peace. If everyone could just take the moment to mute themselves, if they're not, that would be great. Okay, so I know that there was some confusion around this. To be completely honest, I was a little bit confused too. This is my first time doing this, as many of you know. Still technically your new chair. So I'm going to read off the list. So there are currently justice of the peaces that are going to serve until, I believe it's January. I can't remember the exact date. I'll get that to you. January 2021. But these will be the names that will go forward after that. Now I believe if something happens, if someone resigns from the position or whatever, we could amend that to make that clear. But these are the names of the different justice of the peace from different districts. We have 8 per district. So District A, and we have to vote for them as a full DTC. District A, Jalen Seed, Andy Garfunkel, Rosa Murray, Leisha King, Melody Green Reagan, Darius Williams, Fanny Osorio, Eloise Melendez. District B, Sandra Stokes, Martha Wooden Dumas, Maria Fernandez Flores, Eric Anderson, Daisy Marie Franklin, Mimi Burgess, Jody Proct, Sonia Oliver. District C, John Kites, Brenda Penn Williams, Ari Disraeli, Johnny May Weldon, Beth Siegelbaum, Jennifer McAllister, Naomi Kites, Jennifer Balliet. District D, Donna King, Greg Burnett, Barbara Meyer Mitchell, Bob Duff, Sol Rodas, Marilyn Robinson, Sheldon Green, Andres Bermudez Hallstrom. District E, Ken DiRenzo, John Igneri, Kevin Teppas, Harry Rilling, Bob Klein, Pat Tinto, Galen Wells, Kate Tepper, and Regina Crummell. Those are our justice of the peace. Do I have a motion to move this forward? Please unmute yourself by pressing.
I have a question.
So moved.
Wait, I have a question and a motion. Let's take the question first. Who is the
I have a
question?
question. Joe Tambieri has a question.
Who's speaking?
Joe Tambieri.
Oh, hi, Joe. I'm so sorry. I have like 3 pages of screens.
That's all right, no problem. I requested to continue being a justice of the peace, and I didn't hear my name mentioned. So I raised this question this morning on an email to our district chairs, and no response. And it's my intention, again, to be justice of the peace from District D. So where do we go from here?
Okay, is there anyone on that list in D who doesn't want to serve?
That I don't know. I'm hearing the names for the first time right now, as you just mentioned to them.
All right, Lauren, that's the right list, right?
Yes, that's the list, and I selected the names based on who emailed me first. I didn't have the previous list of who had formerly been justices of the peace, and I went based on the 8 names that I got first. We had 11 people submit their names. And I emailed the list out before this DTC meeting and responded, I was requested to get 8 names by Eloisa, and so I submitted the 8 names.
May I suggest that with respect to District D, there might have to be a roll call vote, unless 2 people want to step aside, or 3 people.
Okay.
To make room for Joe?
Yes, excuse me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. As I said before, I never received any intention from our district chairs, co-chairs, I should say. So this is all new to me as of this morning. So I don't think it's a fair process the way it was done. Why I didn't receive that notice, I don't have a clue. But it's still my intention, okay, to want to continue being a justice of the peace. Ed, you brought out a good point. All this could have been resolved prior to these names being submitted for approval by the DTC. So
Eloisa?
Someone somehow dropped the ball.
Excuse me. Eloisa?
One at a time. Galen, I heard Galen first, and then Pat Marshak.
Yeah. I will withdraw from District E, and Joe Tambieri can have my space if he'd like. The District E people don't all have to reside in District E. So that would solve Joe Tambieri's issue.
Okay.
Thank you, Galen, but I'd like to be endorsed by our district, but thank you for the offer.
I think, Joe, the better part of valor is to take the E seat, because these things are voted on by the entire DTC. There is no
There's no rule that there has to be an even 8. It's just something as Democrats that we've always done. With everything, as you guys know, with delegates, none of that's set in stone. It's just by our own really standards to make sure that all of our districts are represented. So it's not like it really has nothing to do with your particular district. So I would agree with Ed and
Eloisa?
thank Galen for your offer. Pat?
Yeah, I understand that the terms for the justice of the peace, that there are several of them, are until January 2021.
Yes.
So these people are current justices. So I cannot. How could you step aside if you have a term until 2021? I would think that we would need.
No, the list here are people moving forward in 2021. It's not the current list. Joe is on the current list, right? Joe, you're him.
That's right. So that these people, these are for people who would move forward, who fill out anybody you elected today would not take off, not be a justice of the peace until January 2021.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, nonetheless, that's what we're doing. So
that's what we're doing. Trust me,
I just want to say this is Lauren. I'm really sorry for the confusion. Joe, I did not receive your request to continue as justice of the peace. You asked me for a list and current and past justices, and that you weren't aware of any vacancies, but you didn't state your intention. So I apologize you weren't on the list.
But I
Hey,
think,
Lauren, when
think-
was that email sent? Because I didn't get that either. This is Sandra Stokes.
Sorry, Sandra, the email was sent to district chairs from me to district chairs so that they could send to their district and go from there. And the reason why you're on fees is because I guess I was talking to Sonia Oliver earlier that you're currently a justice of the peace.
So, Joe, if we could, we could avoid any unnecessary votes or anything like that. If you would just accept Galen's offer to withdraw and take that seat, it would avoid really unnecessary voting, because at the end of the day, the seat is now available.
Yes. So, Mr. Tamburi?
If this is the only way that we're going to get this resolved, I don't want to cause any hindrance to anyone. But another reason I had here for following up on this without any notices is that for 2021, I have 4 weddings scheduled already. So I'm sure you can understand my situation after what's going to happen. But Galen, if you're willing to give that up, and I will accept your offer. And I'm a little disappointed the way it took place. Thank you, Galen.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Galen. And yeah, Mr. Tamburi, I agree. This was kind of, it's been really crazy between the conventions and DTC meetings and all this stuff to kind of get that figured out. And when I realized that we had to also do justice of the peace, it was hard. I asked Mr. McQuaid for a list with Democrats, but he didn't. The master list doesn't really include, the one that's online doesn't include voter registration, so I actually didn't have a full list. I had like a half list of all the Democratic justice of the peaces. But either way, like Ed said, and like I said, at the end of the day, it's about having 40 Democratic justice of the peaces. It's not really about the district or anything like that. And I think, especially given that you have weddings planned in 2021, the most important thing here was to make sure that you just went, you got a spot, and we got you the spot. So we'll figure this out more for the future. I'm sorry, I'll take the responsibility that it could have been done better. But it's my first time going through this and figuring it all out in the first place. So it was just, if we were in our regular structure where all our districts and me, I would have been able to do this before, but it kind of has to be done by email and stuff. But
thank you, Eloise. Let's move it forward.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Colin, for the record, and I'll send you this updated list too for the minutes. We'll be voting on the list that I read with just the change from Galen to Joe Tamburi. Do I have a motion?
May I make a motion, if there are no other nominations, that we just basically vote, or that one vote be cast for the list of 40 that you read?
Yes. Are there any other nominations? Okay. So all those, or do I have a second for Ed's motion? I'm sorry.
Second.
Who was that? Stephanie Thomas. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, great.
Aye.
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 It's actually really cool. I miss you guys, hearing all the ayes. Okay, I'm muting everyone again. Sorry, short-lived. Okay, moving on. Thank you for that.
Eloisa, this is Greg Burnett. Just for clarity, the names that we
Council members
just
have to leave, right? Oh.
yeah, yes, but just for clarity, the names that we just voted on, their terms will be from January 2021 through January of 2025. Is that correct?
Yes, and in between that time, there are always a lot of vacancies that are created and resignations and stuff. So this is definitely not the only opportunity to become a justice of the peace. But yes.
Okay. And Eloisa, may I suggest? I don't think there were votes for nays, nor was the secretary directed to cast that vote.
Oh yeah, sorry. Colin, I lost you. It's easier when Colin is on my screen because then I see him and then I remember to make that connection. But I think you got put onto the second screen. I'm sorry. Yes, Colin, can you cast one ballot from all of us for that?
Done.
Thank you. And I will email you that list. Okay, everyone. Moving on. Pat, do we have a treasurer's report? Do you have one prepared by any chance?
Yes, I have one.
Okay, great.
And actually, I will email this to Esther and Louisa and Colin for inclusion in the minutes. This is really from January till May because we haven't had a report in that time. So we began the time in January with $6,701.48. We paid for hosting our web domain, which is $46.98. We paid for our post office box, which is $114, and we paid for leftover from the election. We paid $492.39 for Democratic headquarters. There were utility costs that were left over. So we are down to $5,969.85. Our insurance is due in June. And so I'm going to make some calls for that to see what kind of rates we get. And I will report that to Eloisa and the executive committee. So that's about it. Anybody have any questions?
Okay.
Wow, I'm that boring.
Thank you so much for that.
You're that good.
Great. Okay. Is the mayor still on?
The mayor's still here.
Hi. Do you mind
Hello.
just giving us an update, a quick update?
Yeah, we're still operating. City Hall, as you know, is closed to the public. Still, we're providing all essential services. We moved into phase 1 of our reopening plan, where we opened up the beach and a couple of parks, but only the parking. None of the amenities are open. The recreational fields, the basketball courts. We found that a lot of young people were playing pickup games, and we had to stop them because we had as many as 20, 25 young people playing soccer or lacrosse together, and that violated our social distancing. The beach is open to residents only for parking. We have 500, which is a 50% capacity, 500 parking spaces for them. We have 50 off-site parking spaces at Taylor Farm for non-residents so that they can park there and walk into the beach if they have to. We're following very closely the Connecticut state reopening plan. We're watching what's happening there. We have allowed outdoor dining, and we had a permit process in place. I want to thank my team for the wonderful job they did on putting together the permit process online, and we have a turnaround time of 4 hours, 8 hours. People can get their permit for outdoor dining. We closed off the south side of Washington Street to parking and put up barriers and made that a pedestrian walkway. We wanted to close the entire lane of Washington Street, but after consulting with the fire chief, he was concerned about the apparatus being able to get there and effectively knock down a fire if something were to happen there. So we weren't really able to do that. So that's really where we are right now. We're still following closely with the state of Connecticut. We put out a nightly briefing regarding new cases. I believe today we had 4 new deaths to report, and a few more cases. We're up about 1,940 or 30-something cases of COVID in the city of Norwalk. We're watching very closely as hospitalizations seem to be going down. The main concern we have right now is the people starting to see the state and the city opening up to some degree, and they're starting to get very lax with their social distancing, wearing masks, and so forth. So we have the health department that is on board to enforce restaurants and other areas where they have authority, and the police department. If anybody has anything that they observe, they can call the Norwalk Police Department at 854-3000, where they can report what they consider to be a violation of either the governor's executive orders or my civil preparedness or emergency civil preparedness order. And we will investigate and take the appropriate action. We have the opening of a walk-up window at City Hall, which has proved remarkably effective for checking to register your vehicles, making sure that you're able to get a beach pass, pay your taxes, and do other kinds of things. We're continuing to provide inspections for building permits on a limited basis, but that seems to be going rather well. And the town clerk's office is up and operating pretty close to 100%. So if anybody has any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. I'm still doing my town hall meetings once a week. They seem to be rather well received. People have been asking a lot of good questions and seem to be effectively responding to the virus by exercising universal precautions and other kinds of things. So we have a common council meeting tonight, and we have a Democratic caucus coming up very soon. So if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer.
Are there any questions for the mayor? If you're on the phone, please remember you have to press *6 to unmute yourself.
Yeah, just another point that Lucia just reminded me of. We just got 11,000 masks from Grace Farms.
Oh, wow.
So far, the city of Norwalk has handed out over 150,000 masks. We got 11,000 masks from Grace Farms that will be used. They've been given to police officers and others who will, our ambassadors who will be patrolling the beaches and parks and offering masks to people that don't have them. And Sabrina Church has been working with our small business community to pass out masks to them. And I know Representative Sims should have gotten a call today from her because he's looking to help with passing out some of the masks to small businesses as well.
Okay. JJ, is that your hand up?
Yes, I did speak with Sabrina today, and we're working on working that out now. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that.
JJ?
Very welcome.
Yes, I have a question, Mr. Mayor. I've been watching the news on testing. When will Norwalk be included for the testing by CVS for walk-in?
We don't know for sure. I don't think Norwalk is going to have a walk-in site. We do have a site at the hospital on Elmcrest Terrace that has been operational. My last report is that very, very few people are now in line, and it seems like virtually everybody that wants to get tested now can go. We were originally informed that at one point you wouldn't need a doctor's prescription, but that has changed. You still need a doctor's permission or prescription to get tested at the Norwalk Hospital site. I know there's a CVS site in New Haven. I don't know, I believe there may be one going to be in Bridgeport or Stamford, I'm not sure. But I don't believe Norwalk is scheduled to get a CVS site.
Mayor, can I add something to that, Mayor? We've been in a lot of discussions about getting a site in or around Norwalk where people could go without a prescription, JJ. But what we're hearing from the state and the new commissioner actually passed a new order going forward. And the reason for that is that the public health folks are saying that it is so important that there be a doctor on record for follow-up for people who are diagnosed as positive, and that what was happening when they weren't requiring a prescription was that the lab was letting the individual know, but that really got in the way of contact tracing and making sure that anybody who was positive was getting the correct standard of care. So what they're trying to do is get some clinics who will have doctors on site for walk-ins, so they can establish care with them. But that's taking a little longer to get up and running than they thought. So that's just some context around it.
Can I ask a question?
Can I say
May
something?
I have a follow-up question?
Eloisa, Brenda.
Wait, Brenda, please wait 1 second. I
May I
had
ask a question?
Diana's hand was up before yours, and then Brenda. Is that okay?
Yeah. I apologize. I just have a particular question, and you guys, I know, I'm probably just not popular, but coming from medicine, coming from this, I have a question about certain protocols that really I'm wondering if we're sitting and thinking and really working with it. When I see children, when I see pregnant women, when I see people at play with masks on their face that restrict breathing, that brings bacteria to the face, and also after 2 hours extremely goes up with those bacteria things. When we use masks and gloves, we dispose of them before you even leave the room. So for people to be going in extremities like this, why are we, these protocols, we're not questioning. And I'm really concerned because you're limiting air, you're breathing back your own carbon monoxide, I have an asthmatic daughter, for example, who should not be in a mask 24/7 covering her face and nose. I'm not doing it. So where do we start questioning protocol? Because never have I ever heard this make sense in this manner, and it still doesn't. And I will continue to question this. And I'm asking, when do we as leaders question this? It's concerning, especially seeing, for example, a pregnant woman, I'm going to use that again, walking around with a mask, who's breathing their own oxygen back in, carbon monoxide back in, limiting their air, oxygen already being squished by a baby in their lungs. Like, there's protocols here that just doesn't make sense.
Well, we can work with the health department, but people who have a specific medical condition or other situation where they cannot wear a mask are not required to wear a face covering. And therein lies one of the problems, because if we approach somebody who's not wearing a face covering, they can say, well, I have a
yes, and by OSHA regulations, you can't do that. Just like if you ever went to vaccine, I particularly have a disorder that I can't take live vaccines, for example. There's people, once again, who can't be wearing masks like this.
There are exceptions. There are exceptions for people that have a medical condition that prohibits them or would recommend that they don't wear a mask because it could be detrimental to their health. So there is an exception in the governor's executive order for that.
To their health. It's many people, though. It's many people will be detrimental to their health.
Okay,
I just
well,
really want us to assess and probe. I just want to state that if we can really try to reassess and truly look at the protocols that are being established here, because a lot of them really do not make sense.
Okay, thank you so
well,
much.
that came from the governor's office. It did not come from the city of Norwalk.
CDC's not making sense
Hey,
right now.
so Eloisa,
yes,
getting back to the testing, the COVID-19 health alert, physician one urgent care has 2 COVID-19 testing options, the virus and the antibody, and that's on Main Street. Okay, so if anybody needed testing, they could go to the urgent care on Main Street.
Yes, thank you so much, Brenda.
There's been concerns about those tests too.
Okay. Mayor, thank you so much for that update. Thank you for your leadership in this all. So thankful that you're our mayor.
Thank you, Eloisa. I'm going to have to get off
I know
because
you have
we
a
have a
caucus.
caucus meeting.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you so much. Senator Duff, are you on?
I'm here. Hold on. Hello, just taking myself off mute.
Okay, great.
I'm walking. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Could you give us a brief update?
Sure.
State?
Sure. Yep. First of all, just want to congratulate Chris and Travis and Stuart on their renominations and thank them for all their hard work. Just so everybody knows here, Chris and Travis obviously work very hard, and Stuart has a an excellent reputation around the state with the Secretary of the State's office and with other registrars of voters. They really do look to Stuart for a lot of leadership. And so him being renominated and elected again is a real win for us. So I would just say as an update, you know, we're still trying to figure out legislative activities, whether it's over the summer or over the fall, and when the state capitol might reopen again. But also the legislative session constitutionally ended on May 5th at midnight. And so now, you know, as we all know, we're pivoting over to political mode with regard to campaigning and getting the word out. But I would say that for those of us on the Democratic side, I know I speak for Travis and Chris and Lucy and Stephanie Thomas. We want her to get in as well, and she's working hard. Is that we have really great candidates for our own delegation. We have good state Senate candidates around Connecticut, and really working to elect more Democrats, and you know, feel very good about the fact that Joe Biden will be at the top of the ticket, and it will be a real contrast to our current president, who let's say is not handling this crisis in the best of ways. I will say that you know, still continuing to work with Governor Lamont and his team, and that's been very important. Governor right now is very strong with the citizens of the state of Connecticut, and working locally with Mayor Rilling and the council has been great as well. I would say on the last question on the CVS testing, I believe that more sites hopefully will open up, and I've been in touch with the governor's office about trying to get one in Norwalk as well. I don't have a commitment on that at all, but those conversations are ongoing, and hopefully we'll get something soon. But I would just say for folks that, you know, this is a very important time in our nation's history, and that those of us who are in office right now, I know have been taking this very seriously, and as has been said with Chris and Travis earlier, that there's just a ton of constituent work right now, a ton of work to try and help those who are unemployed or need food or need some sort of assistance during a very, very stressful time. And that, you know, we're all doing our best to help out right now. And those are the things that take the most time, but they are also most satisfying. And, you know, so we'll continue to work, do what we have to do, and continue to try and continue to keep people safe and healthy during this pandemic. And we'll work to make sure that the democratic values are espoused in the most positive way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Duff. Thank you for your leadership and everything, and your updates and town halls. I meant to say it to the mayor too. The town halls are very informative. It's just great to have leaders that have really been able to keep the public informed and safe throughout this pandemic.
Thank you.
I think we lost all our council members, and I think our Board of Ed, Colin's here. I don't know if there's any update from there, but I believe we lost all our council members to a caucus. I don't know if there are any board members that want to give any brief update or anything like that. But
I had a quick thing to add.
Oh, yes, great.
It's Lucy Dathan.
I didn't realize you were on. Yes. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. My connectivity is, I don't know if it's the multiple children playing Minecraft and whatever. It's just, I have very little
TikToks.
bandwidth right now.
Beatrice's TikToks.
Exactly, you got it. First of all, congratulations to Rep. Peron and Rep. Sims. I am very pleased to hear that you got the nomination tonight. It's been so good working with you, and I hope we get another 2 years together. So onward and upward with all of the campaigns that we're all working on. So I got my nomination last week. Thank you to Pat Marshak and to God, I'm sorry, I'm having a difficult day today. And just thank you to everyone on the 142nd caucus that, you know, had their faith and got me back in to be on the ballot next time. I'm really looking forward to that. So I just wanted to say one thing is I'm having a town hall on Thursday evening at 5 o'clock with DECD David Lehman, and I'm going to send the information to Darius and Eloisa, and maybe if you guys can circulate it, but would love for as many people in the DTC to join. Get your questions answered from David Lehman, and hopefully this is also good publicity for the Democrats here in Norwalk. So I look forward to working on campaigns this summer with people, and it's going to be different. And if anybody is interested in volunteering for my campaign or anybody else's, you can go ahead and email me. If you want to email my Yahoo or my Gmail account, would love to hear from you. But thank you, everybody, for all your faith and confidence, and look forward to hopefully representing you another 2 years. That's about it.
Great, thank you so much. And I was just going to add, I don't think Stephanie Thomas is still on. I believe she had to go to a zoning meeting, but please don't forget to follow our candidates on their Facebook, their Twitter pages, their Instagram pages, where they update all of us on everything that's going on with their campaigns, and sign up for their updates directly on their website too, and don't forget to give, just so that we could continue to do what we can while we're still social distancing, but you know, for volunteers, for their campaigns, they still need volunteers, even if we're not, you know, actively knocking on doors and doing all these things. Colin, was there anything from the Board of Ed? I'm sorry, I just want to wrap up here, but I don't know if there was anything.
The biggest thing is, you know, as we said last time, the budget reconciliation process has really kind of, I think it's near a very smooth end, despite all that's been happening. It's been said before, but you know, just to reiterate, the City of Norwalk has been amazingly supportive of our public schools, from both a technology and infrastructure standpoint, but also from a collaboration standpoint of thinking about how instruction is going to look over summer. And one of the big questions is how instruction will look in the fall. Clearly, we are going to follow a lot of the state and federal guidelines, but that remains one big question mark.
Okay, thank you so much, Colin. All right, well, with that, I don't want to keep people too long, and it's now been an hour by the time we actually started our meeting. If there's no other new business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second the motion to adjourn.
Darius. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, till
In
next time,
favor?
guys.
Aye.
Stay safe. See you
Okay,
soon.
bye.
Miss you all. Can't wait to we can all get
Bye.
together.
Goodbye.
Bye. Vote blue. Tell your friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.